as sim enthusiasts, we're all kind of chasing the same thing, right? We want realism, we want immersion, we love being in the cockpit or the driver's seat, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, and unless you're really into it, you just you just don't know until you try it. And I think that because of those things, because we're all interested in kind of chasing that immersion.
Today's podcast style interview is for the sim gaming enthusiasts. I'm O with the Fly Media channel. I'm a private pilot and a big time sim enthusiast. A lot of you saw my video from Flight Sim Expo, and today we're talking about another big expo coming to the US, the Sim Gaming Expo. It's the first of its kind, and I'm really excited about it. At Sim Gaming Expo, you can expect to see flight sim, racing sim, trucking sim, and even farming sim. So for anybody who's into simulation, no matter what facet of the game you're into, there will be something for you. There's going to be VR, there's going to be motion simulators, there are going to be companies and brands that you all know and are looking forward to, like Moza, SimuCube, and many, many more. Today, we're sitting down with the man behind it all, George Anzalato. George, welcome to the show. I'm super pumped to have you, so let's get into it.
We've got some billboards going out there that are around the Chicagoland area. We actually will have two news stations present on the morning of the show, which is like so exciting. So we think that's going to bring in people locally on that weekend. And then, we're kind of doing the standard stuff. We're leaning on the companies that are going to be present exhibiting, as well as some of the content creators that we've already established connections with. Just again, helping us to kind of put that outreach there into the community. We think again, like after this first year, companies and people who may not have heard about it, or for example, companies if they were on the fence, I think after this first one, they're going to see, okay, now we understand. We get it. This is what they were going for, and I think year two is going to see more growth. But we've got to get through this first one. Um, I think we'll have a humble beginning. Although that being said, I think we've definitely locked in a great number of exhibitors. There'll certainly be enough, I feel, for people to enjoy a full weekend at the show. And yeah, it's a great foundation to build off of, and we're excited.
No, that's extremely, extremely exciting. Bringing together the passions of many people. We know that in general, sim racing is bigger than flight sim. Um, but you saw how big Flight Sim Expo was
Oh
here.
yeah.
I think there were like 8,500 people there this year, which is the largest one they've ever had. And that was absolutely incredible. So I'm excited to see how the two kind of mesh together as,
Yeah.
sim racers start to unite and come together here in the US, which will be exciting.
Yeah, you know what? And I absolutely love it. And here's the thing. I truly believe as sim enthusiasts, we're all kind of chasing the same thing, right? We want realism, we want immersion. We love being in the cockpit or the driver's seat, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, and unless you're really into it, you just you just don't know until you try it. And I think that because of those things, because we're all interested in kind of chasing that immersion, I think that we as sim enthusiasts can appreciate those other genres. And the other thing too is that hardware manufacturers, some of our favorites, they're now making equipment for both. You see a lot
Yes.
with like Moza and Turtle Beach and Logitech and Thrustmaster. Their ecosystems have expanded, and I think people are, they're starting to dabble in other forms of sim. Like they might have their main love, and then you know what I mean. They're also like on the weekends or something. They're testing the waters with other genres of sim. So I think it's really exciting. And again, there's other things beyond just the games and the hardware themselves. Like we have at least like four custom PC manufacturers. So the tech that's also supporting the industry, we'll see a little bit of that there as well. Virtual reality, we'll have some VR equipment there. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I think there's definitely going to be something for everyone at the show.
No, that is exciting. I'm super excited to obviously I play Microsoft Flight Sim. I have my private pilot license in real life. I'm actually going to
Nice.
fly shortly after we get off the phone here or off this call. I'm heading to Tracy, which is about an hour and 10-minute drive, but probably a 20-minute flight. And I'm going to go pick up a steering wheel for my racing simulator. I could drive, but I was like, this is 2.5 hours driving there and back. If I fly, I can do it in under an hour. So I'm going to fly out there to go pick up some racing
That's
sim stuff
awesome.
to fly back home to get on and play. So I'm definitely a huge flight sim enthusiast. And then racing is just like my fun. You know how I don't care about being good or bad or things being incorrect.
Yeah.
It's just truly how I unwind and kick back.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it too. It's like simulation can be whatever you want it to be, where whether you're like just going for the ultimate precision and you're just so like dialed into whichever genre you're into, or it's kind of something more on the casual side. I think it's something that everyone can just appreciate, again, like the realism there, like what's been put into these sims. I mean, so
Yes.
many, for example, like on the racing side, and even probably I'm assuming as well on the flight side, where planes and the cars and the tracks themselves, they're laser scanned, where it becomes a one-to-one representation of their real world counterparts. And again, there's really nothing like it. And I think, again, like, as you know, the simulation genre, in terms of like the overall scope of gaming, like we have this niche label, which it's like, okay, that's fine, you can call us niche, but we have an amazing and a very, very large community. And
Yes.
that's also one of the things that I'm looking to do, where we can embrace that kind of like passion of like, okay, we're niche, but also like let's give ourselves a little bit more of a nudge, and push us a little bit more into the mainstream, and really see what we can do to expand and grow not only our community but also the industry. Because as you know, like, the more the industry can thrive and grow, then that just results in more product development, and just
Yes.
bringing like the future forward faster. And I think it's just time. I think that once people are exposed to this, they'll realize like, oh, wait a second, this is really amazing. And so that's kind of the idea too, is one, of course, like, have a big celebration with the core community, but also we want to introduce simulation to a much wider and broader audience.
Yes. The sim community is something like no other. Again, I'm a pilot in real life. I fly around. The aviation community is great, but in terms of the reception, the way I've been received in the sim community is mind boggling. You know, I've
Yeah.
made tons of friends from that expo. There's people I talk to 2, 3 times a week now who
Yeah.
previously I had not known. So it really is a situation and in a community where you meet people, you make friends. They're
Mhm.
from all walks of life, all parts of the country, but we're brought together by our love for simulation. You know, some people are really into motion sims, which I 100% am. I think there's nothing quite like it. They've exposed me to VR and like, you got to get on VR. VR is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I've got three triple 48-inch monitors behind me. So I'm like, I don't know if I need VR. Needless to say, I bought a Quest 3 and I'm enjoying VR. It is
Yeah.
fun. It's different, but you learn from other people. You get, reviews and tips and tricks and things to test out. Oh, that wasn't working. That's because you're doing it this way. You should do that. So it's been an amazing experience so far. So I'm extremely excited to continue to share that and to make content around racing sim, flight sim, fun things. I'm a big F1 fan. My wife
Nice.
doesn't miss a race. She's a fanatic. So I'm going to start creating some fun and engaging F1 content on my sim here. Just, funny, goofy things. I've got the suits and helmets, the whole shebang.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. And going back to what you said, absolutely 100%. That is one of the, I think, the biggest focus for people coming to the show is like, yes, absolutely, they're going to try out and test out like so many different pieces of hardware, and meeting with the companies that are producing these things. But I think really for most people, it's gathering with their friends. And as you mentioned, there are so many friendships that get formed through online gaming or through these communities, and these friendships are real. And there's so many stories that we're hearing from people who, they've never met each other, in real life, and like now they're coming to this show, and this is kind of like their gathering place. And that's a big part of this show. We want it to serve as a gathering place for all these people who just absolutely love simulation, or who are curious about it, Again, it's an opportunity to meet with content creators like yourself. As you know, you have fans and followers, and I think it's just a positive thing, just to kind of reinforce, what it is that we love about all this stuff, and then doing it together as a group, as a community, I think is it's important, and it's always great to put like those face to face and in person interactions together. And as you know, the companies themselves, like they want
Yes.
that direct feedback from
Yes.
from their customers. And again, this is how people can be a part of the growth of this industry. Like
Without
just
a doubt.
let their voices, be known to these companies. And I think honestly, that's how a lot of changes happen, is when they get that feedback and these companies want it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing when they get that direct feedback and then they listen. And on top of it, for all of like the content creators out there who are trying to make a name for themselves in this type of a niche, going to these trade shows, showing that you're invested in it, meeting some of the stakeholders in these companies, showing the value that you bring. There's nothing quite like your sales pitch in person, or
Yeah.
them getting to meet you and see your vibe in person, to the point now where when I reach out to companies, I no longer send an email. I send a VSL, a video
Yeah.
sales letter. I've got my lighting in the back. I show my face, my energy. That way they get to really know who I am, not just some email that was probably 20 to 45% written by ChatGPT, you know?
I love it. And you know what? You're right. The networking opportunities are huge. And honestly, like for example, if if you're a creator or like an esports team that are looking for sponsorships or trying to get connected with these companies, that's the place to do it at events like this. So yeah, huge opportunity for networking. And it's you got to get here. You got to get here in order to take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. So a little bit of history on this event.
Yeah.
When did you come up with this idea and decide, all right, we're going for it? Like, how long in the making has this been?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. So honestly, this came about maybe somewhere around 4 years ago. It was definitely pre-COVID. So again, with my background, I actually ran a league on the iRacing platform, and I hosted several championships on the sim racing side of things. And so I ran this league for about 10 years. And it was through that experience that we were trying to grow the league, gaining sponsorships and creating relationships inside the space. That's where I started to get the idea. It's like, wait a minute, we can do something a little bit bigger. So my initial aspirations were, I want to put my league in an esports arena, to have like a main championship, like our final round. And then, as the idea kind of like started to snowball, it's like, well, we have some sponsors, like let's put some sponsors there. And I'm like, wait a second, we might need more space. Well, if we have more space, we can add more, companies. Wait, we could do an expo out of this. And so, you know what I mean? The idea was really starting to gain some traction, and then COVID hit. And then obviously, like we all didn't know what the world was going to be for a while, and everything
Right.
kind of shut down. And so the idea was, unfortunately, was like put on the back burner for a little bit. And so as things started to open up, I was still thinking about it. And as I mentioned, like, how can I do things differently? How can we add our own creativity? How can we make it bigger? And so it was like, all right, so about 2 years ago, things kind of opened up. It was like, all right, I'm doing this. And so I created the company that is the parent company for the show. And then we signed the papers with the convention center. And then it was like off to the races. So I've literally been working on this thing for the last 18 months, pretty
Wow.
much on a daily basis, just grinding. And that was the tough part, and the challenge is that there's really no textbook per se on
Right.
hosting a live event,
Right.
and there's really not a lot of help out there. You really have to knock down these doors on your own. You have to do the research, and that's kind of what we did during COVID. And then we kind of prepared ourselves, and when things opened up, it was like, all right, full steam ahead. But yes, there was just so much work kind of laying that foundation. But here we are. We're less than a month away. Things were a little slow going in the beginning. Again, like being a first year show,
Yeah.
there's a lot of skepticism.
Right. There's more
Companies
questions
don't.
than answers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the questions or the conversations were where we might have had one company kind of interested, but
Mhm.
then they're like, "Well, who else do you got? Is my competitor there?" And well, we'll jump in when our competitor's there. And then, we had a whole row of people saying the same thing, and it's like, well, somebody's got to jump in. So eventually, though, we started to get a few names, and then it just followed suit. And so here we are with 40 plus exhibitors, and so we're super excited. And yeah, we definitely think that there's room to add some more. We still have some time, but kind of looking towards year two, we think that we're going to, um, increase the exhibitor count. And just one last thing that I wanted to mention, because we do know that there is a fantastic show with the Flight Sim Expo, and so like I've actually spoken with their organizers, and what I'm looking to do is not to take away in any fashion. We want to help grow. So like things that they're focusing on, we can do, in other areas. So we kind of like accentuate versus like competing. But again, like the idea is to just help kind of grow the industry and work together with
Yeah.
shows like FSE to see what we can do. Um, yeah,
No, they're incredible. The folks that organize that are definitely incredible, and I know they've probably been extremely receptive to you because they care about the community as a whole. I know at their event specifically, it's they want to focus on flight sim because their fear is if racing comes into that specific event, it'll crush the flight side just because racing is far more vast. But um, events like this are the opportunity to maybe show that that might not be the case. It's the
yeah,
opportunity for people who maybe you're a flight simmer, maybe you're a racing simmer, or maybe you're like me and you do both. So
yeah,
for folks that do both, it's a perfect way to mesh both communities and make friends on both sides, where you can learn a lot from. My excitement also is with like some of the lesser known companies that are coming up that make fantastic products. For instance, on the flight sim side, flightsim.com is the name of the company. And I've used tons of different peripherals for flight sim. They're hands down the best I have ever felt.
nice,
The reason is the owner is a pilot. The whole purpose that they're going for is to create training level
yeah,
devices that feel as close to the real thing as possible. And when I used it immediately, I felt that. And I was like, this is it. When I start rebuilding my flight sim, these are the products I'm going for, hands down. I'll test anything else out. I'll give my honest thoughts. But if you want to know what's the best, that's it. That's where you go. You don't ask any more questions.
yeah. I love it. And you know what? What better validation than from a real world pilot or a real world driver when they put their hands on these peripherals and say, yes, this feels real. Um, this is the real deal type of thing.
Right.
And again, like going back to just how awesome this stuff is that drivers and pilots are using this software and hardware as training tools. It's
Yes.
it's just it's just incredible. Like for example, like if you're flying into an airfield that you've never been to before, like you can literally land there and check out the taxiways and look at the layout.
Right.
And
The
it's
terrain,
it's
that's
yeah,
exactly what I use it for a lot
yeah,
of that with my friends, and I have buddies that don't fly somewhere new in real life before doing it in the sim.
yeah,
They'll do the GPS approaches, they'll fly all the ILS approaches and stuff, and they
yeah.
are when they get there, they're 100% like, "Oh my goodness, it's just like in the game."
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And the one thing that I would say, like with regards to flight simulation, like kind of looking from the outside, I think it's amazing. I mean, the tech because did visit FSE when they were in Vegas recently,
Okay.
and I wasn't able to get out to Providence this year with how close the show was and how
Right.
busy things were. But no, I mean, you know what? I think flight simulations definitely stands tall on its own. And I think they honestly, in my opinion, being from the sim racing side and seeing all the tech and everything, I think they stand shoulder to shoulder as just really the flagships of the simulation community, the industry. So I'm excited. Like honestly, like all the stuff that I've seen, me personally, like I want to get back into it. So like when I was kind of dabbling, I was kind of playing some of the like IL2, and I
Mhm.
had a very modest setup, but like seeing this now and seeing like the progression, like with DCS and even stuff on like the GA side of flight and the equipment, I'm like, I need to get into this. I need to start flying. This is amazing. So um Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
see, and that's kind of just one example. Like I'm totally intrigued, and I like that's the thing. Like I as a sim enthusiast, I appreciate so much like the technology and the hardware and the build quality and everything that goes
Yes.
into the flight sim side too. And again, we're looking to kind of capture pieces of all these genres and where it's like enough for everyone to enjoy, but also
Mhm.
like you know what I mean? Just kind of
Yeah.
celebrating everything together under one roof. So yeah.
No, that's extremely exciting. So, a few company names that will be there on the racing sim side, the flight sim side, and then we talked about trucking sim. Could you name a few for people, who might listen in
Yeah,
and figure like, oh, this company is somebody I wanted to check out.
yeah, absolutely. So on the flight sim side, the kind of probably the biggest one is Scalarchy Electronics. They're bringing their Airbus the beautiful huge simulator. It's going to be amazing. So we'll have them.
Hmm.
Moza is not exhibiting like in a traditional sense, but they are partnering up with GTR Simulator, and so they'll have some of their flight sim equipment
Yep.
present. Also, we're kind of finalizing things. We've been talking with Turtle Beach, and we're hopeful that they'll be supplying us with a number of flight sim units, maybe upwards of 7. We'll actually have like a PC gaming area where we'll have desktop stations set up, and so the
Right.
idea is that we could put a number of flight sim units there for people to try. We have had some conversations with Eagle Dynamics, who might be able to support us with some license keys. In terms of trucking, same thing. Like GTR Simulator is working with Moza, so we'll have the trucking wheel. I have a few of those stations set up in a full rig. SCS Software has come on board to support us with their software, so we'll also have a number of license keys for ATS and ETS, which is really exciting. In terms of the sim racing side of things, brands like Simucube, Gomez
Ooh,
Sim Industries, Husingveld, Simcraft, GTR Simulator and others have already signed on board. iRacing actually is supporting us with their software. We actually will have a large competition area where we'll have 15 fully built cockpits with a number of competitions that are taking place throughout the entirety of the weekend. So we're going to have like an action packed um, you know, show for everyone. We actually also have a podcast studio that'll be on the show floor. So, for example,
epic.
creators can come in, have access to this space, basically host a live podcast right there on the show floor, which I think will be a lot of fun. And then, we also will have our media stage where we'll have a number of different discussion panels and speakers and soon to be. It sounds like there's going to be a few product launches, which we're super excited about from a handful of these companies.
That's
Which,
huge.
yeah, I mean, like them taking the trust and just saying, hey, we want to unveil some products here at this show. I mean,
That's
it was
colossal.
it's an honor, I mean, I don't really know how else to put it other than just like we were just floored, blown away, and just honored by the fact that these companies were willing to do that because there's other shows with larger audiences, but they decided, hey, like we felt strongly enough that we want to do this here at the Sim Gaming Expo. So we're we're
That's
pumped
awesome.
about that. But yeah, you can view the full list of exhibitors and sponsors as well as our creators on our website, just
Hmm.
simgamingexpo.com. We're still updating that because we have a few announcements in the queue. But yeah, if you check out our website, you'll be able to see like the full exhibitor list as well as our floor plan too, so you can see exactly you know where companies are laid out, what size their booth is, and with regards to exhibiting, we were super excited to hear finally that we were able to get Giant Software on board. So, they're the makers of Farming Simulator, and they have some ties to the sim racing side of things. They're in development with another studio to build
Hmm.
a new sim racing title. And yeah, so we've got some great names.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just the countdown's on basically.
Oh man, the count it's rapidly approaching.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned that I found huge that I think that anybody who watches this should 100% take a look at the map of exhibitors. take it from me. Flight Sim Expo was my first expo of that sort, and there was just so much going on that like your head is spinning. If you don't map out the things you want to see and where they are and say, okay, I'm gonna go get these things done, and then I can play around and just kind of wander, you might not get things done. The same thing happened to me at Oshkosh. I went to Oshkosh
Oh,
2 weeks ago, and that was the
nice.
biggest, most insane week of my life. My feet still hurt. Um, I took 100,000 steps in 5 days.
Wow.
So my
Yeah.
shoes are pretty much in the trash, and I wasn't even wearing good walking shoes. So, advice from somebody who's been to a few of these things this year: wear good walking shoes and map your route. Take a good look, have an idea of where things are, what you want to see. And you mentioned Scalarchy. For Scalarchy, you
Yeah.
need to get on their website and make sure you register if you want to play around with that A330 setup. You'll
Right.
want to get your hands on that. That will probably be booked out around now or next week. So make sure you get on there and get your opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that, and I mean that what an experience, especially if you're already into flight sim. I think this is, if you missed it at FSC, here's your chance, to jump on
Right?
that sim, and that's a that's that's an amazing piece of hardware. So especially like if you have to book a time slot, that
Exactly.
it's an
It's
opportunity that might be a little bit rare if you don't take the chance. So um, yeah, maybe I'll be able to sneak in there after hours so we don't take away from one of the attendees. But yeah, it
exactly.
just looks incredible, and I can't wait to try it myself.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. I'm excited to see it again and see how people receive it. A lot of these products are great because where things are in the industry, there are products that are kind of aimed at the entry level flight simmer who may be on a budget, which I suggest for 99% of people, unless you just have money to blow and you're like, I can afford the best, I want the best, good for you. But if you're just getting into it, start with something modest, get to learn how things work, and then go, okay, I'm enjoying it, I'm using it, let me upgrade and spend a little bit more money. But we're in a space now where even high level products are becoming more and more affordable, so I definitely love that that is happening in the industry. But like I said, on the flight sim side, for me, I know what I want. Since I fly in real life and I'm working on additional ratings, I want the thing that is the most accurate.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of all of this is that there is such a wide range with regards to products, and really you can get into simulation really on any budget. And as
Right?
you know, as you upgrade your hardware, you're really adding more to the immersion. But like, you know, I've seen like I saw it at FSC. They have the controller where it's got like all the, you know what I mean? Like you can do it on a budget and still
$100.
enjoy
Yep.
it. And then as as things grow and you progress in that journey and you're ready to, move up to an awesome yoke, and you get the rudder pedals, then it's all there.
Exactly.
So that's the thing where if some people see like the high end stuff, they feel like, oh my gosh, there's this huge barrier to entry. It's like, no, there are other options,
Right?
and that's also what we want to showcase is just that nice progression of products, and really kind of like get a good diverse like group of hardware manufacturers so that
Exactly.
people have they can try everything from the entry level all the way to like the pro level. But
Without
as you
doubt.
mentioned, everything is just the quality is just going up more and more. And so even some of the like the what I guess you could consider like entry level products, like these companies are coming out with some really nice stuff. So you really can get
Yes.
into sim, on a any budget really for
No,
the
that's
most
the
part.
truth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for people who are getting in, having better equipment doesn't necessarily
That's right.
directly make you better, right? Like you have to build the skills anyway. I could get SimuCube or be on a Mazda, and neither one is going to make me personally faster on track because I'm like the amateur level racer. Now, if you're a pro level sim racer and you know what's going on, you can really tell the differences. So until
Yeah.
you get to that level, you don't need the best until you start realizing you're winning and winning and winning, and you start leveling up. You're like, oh, I can't quite get to that next level. At that point, maybe you go, okay, a little hardware upgrade that gives me some more feeling on the track might be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and we've seen that in so many instances where people sometimes even going back to the racing side on the pro level where they're on entry level equipment.
Right?
But as you said, like as you kind of step up to the next category, it just adds so much more fidelity and the things that you like, the textures that you feel, which is just amazing how that all translates through the equipment, and you feel it. You can actually feel it in the steering wheel, like
Yes.
the surfaces, and
Mhm.
when the tires are going over the curbs, and how they, all of the physics, you know,
Yes.
the
The
physics that
telemetry is
are, yeah,
incredible. Right.
yeah,
100%.
it's wild. So um yeah, I think there's basically there's an awesome experience to be had at any price point. Just
Yes.
obviously, like, as you kind of upgrade the equipment, it just steps up that game just that little bit more, and makes it feel a little bit more real.
Yes.
But it's definitely, it's something where I feel, it's fairly accessible to everyone. Um, and there's room to grow
Yes.
in this
Yes.
hobby. Yeah.
100%. Another thing
Yeah.
I'm super excited about is the development of force feedback pedals.
Yeah.
Not force, I'm sorry. Yeah, force feedback like active pedals in racing, right?
Yes.
Mazdas are already out. I've got two in the next room sitting there. I haven't set them up yet because I don't have a wheel, but I'll probably be playing with those later today. SimuCube obviously has theirs, and theirs are have to be fantastic. So I'm hopefully
They're
gonna get
amazing.
a chance to touch those out while I'm there
Yeah.
because they make some outrageous stuff, like really, really precise, which I'm definitely into. And then I know Sim Magic is coming out with one in the next who knows how long. They've shown us, teasers. Whenever they decide to release that, you'll have three quality products available at different price points to help people take it to that next level.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing is, as new technology comes out, then the competitors, they kind of push one another to
Right.
continue to evolve, and progress, and we as consumers, like, we benefit. So
100%.
yeah, it's exciting to see, and definitely, like, that's one of the cool things that you will get to see some of these brands, like high end tech, like those active pedals. A lot of the brands themselves are co-exhibiting, they're partnering with
Yep.
other companies, and, like, you'll see in many of these booths there will be, because you mentioned, like, the full motion sim, so we'll have SimCraft, there's Driven Dynamics, Apavie, we'll also have a full motion sim. Doff Reality, who,
Yep.
you're probably familiar with them from FSC. We
Exactly.
we just kind of got something done and put together with those guys, and they'll be there with their motion sims. GTR Simulator, I believe, will have one of their models as well. So you're going to have a lot to see and do with regards to trying out multiple different motion sims. So that's the other thing too. It's about an experience, because, again, like, not everyone is going to be able to
Right.
afford, like, a full on high end motion sim, but it's your opportunity to try it, and to see, is, even if it's something for you, like, for the future.
Yeah.
Um
Exactly.
Again, or just an experience to try out something that, you know, where else are you going to do it? They don't, this is the thing, like, other than just recently with Micro Center, there's, where else is there a brick and mortar store where you're walking in and, like, hey, I'm gonna jump on this motion simmer, I'm gonna try out the latest wheel. It's like, we watch reviews, and the reviews are amazing, but
Right.
really it's like, until you get it in your hands and you experience it for yourself, and once you, again, like, you pay for that
Yeah.
hardware, it's like, that's yours. it's
Yeah.
your it's your yoke, or your or your wheel, or your
Pretty
set of,
final at
like,
that
high end
point. Right.
pedals.
Exactly.
So this is everyone's chance to, like, really get their hands and feet on this equipment, test it out, see if it's for them. And then the other thing too, these companies are going to be selling at the show. Like, they can sell their goods at Sim Gaming Expo. And so a lot of them will have show specials. So
Exactly.
people can try stuff out, and if they really love it, they can walk out of there with equipment. And as you know, like, at most of these shows, companies, they don't want to ship that equipment back. So on Sunday, get ready, like, get your wallets and get ready to make a deal. And you probably
Yeah.
could come out of there with, like, a simulator or wheels, or whatever it is.
Discounts are
But
there to be had. You're so
yeah,
right. Discounts
yes,
are there to be had.
yes, yes. I mean, the reality is, it helps cover, their marketing budgets and what they had to spend on travel and you know what I mean, like all of the exhibitor services and things like that. So they're ready to sell.
Exactly.
So
And they
definitely,
should be. So
yeah,
yeah, exactly. And they often offer show discounts. Even if you're buying something during the show, the pricing is usually pretty amazing. You're getting not we're not talking 5, 10%. You're often getting 20, 25% off. And then like you said, at the end of that week, they make that decision of is it worth it for us to pay to ship this stuff back or can we get a bunch of it off because
yeah,
it's already been used. We're not going to sell it. We have to pay to bring it here. We're going to have to pay to take it home, especially if you're flying back somewhere far. Some of these countries are from Europe and
yes,
Asia, so it makes
yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think again, like going back to the benefits of attending, a show like this, yeah, you can walk out of there with some amazing gear. And because I know like for many, like that is probably one of the things that they consider when they're like, wow, well, should I should I should I make it? Should I go? Because if I have to spend money on hotel and flight and well, that adds up to, oh, maybe that's the wheel or the pedals that I wanted. But again, it's like it's all about the experience. You're not really going to get that anywhere else. And then
Right.
also, you know, of those costs for travel and things like that, you do have an opportunity to still get a great deal on some equipment. So I just think
Definitely.
there's so many more positives to being a part of something like this. And here's the thing, like it's being a part of history. This is the first time in North America that a show like this has ever been done. And the reality is, like as a community, that's what's going to determine the future of the
Right.
show. It's really it's in the people's hands. The exhibitors have they've stepped up and come forward and said,
Mhm.
yes, we believe in this. Now it's up to the community. And so
Yeah.
if they're able to come in numbers, like we hope for, then this show can endure and continue on for many years to come. Like my idea, my vision is to see this thing going, for the next 10 plus years. Like
Right.
we have a sim racing competition area. I
That's huge.
originally
That's crazy.
I love it, but the thing was is I also was reaching out to other brands because I wanted to dual purpose those cockpits with flight controls. So my
Right.
my original vision was that we would showcase sim racing for half the weekend, and the other half we would have like a dogfighting tournament, like just something, air races. Like let's get flight up there in a different way that maybe it hasn't been done before. So that is my future vision. But again, like we
Amazing.
have to get there as a community. Like
Right.
um yeah, so like I said, like the air races and combat flight, even like sci-fi combat flight, like
Right.
there's so much that we could do. But again, like these were the companies that responded and felt strongly enough to support this year. But I think that after the other ones see like what we've been able to do, they're going to be like, oh, okay, all right, you got us. We should have been there. Like we're coming. Don't worry, And then we again, like we can really expand on our plans for that competition area. So again, like
Right.
I really wanted to kind of dual purpose it.
Hmm.
But again, like plans for 26. So hopefully we can make it happen.
No, most definitely. That's a huge and exciting. While I've got you here, I know you're an avid sim racer. So, not to put anybody up or down, but what do you personally use?
Yeah, so I've actually ran with the AccuForce Pro V2 for a really long time. It's just a great wheelbase. Had it and it's been tested and used for many many years and many laps. So very very fond of that setup that I have. And I also have some Fanatec the V3 inverted pedals.
Hmm.
And then I'm running currently a custom wheel by Turn Racing, which is again like served me really well. It's kind of like the style is I believe it's the Audi R8 LMS
Okay.
wheel, which is great. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm in the market for some new equipment and wanting to try some different things. Um, my current equipment has been very loved, so it's
That's awesome.
probably ready for for an upgrade. But just like we talked about that journey, like my first wheel was a very kind of like entry level Thrustmaster, and
Yep.
then I moved to the T500. So we went from like a gear driven wheelbase to one that was belt driven,
Yep.
and then eventually like went into the direct drive. Same thing, like the wheelbase that had the wheel attached, and then the T500 where I had like the Ferrari wheel, so we could change out the
Exactly.
wheels, and then the direct drive, and then taking that standard wheel off and going with a full on custom wheel. And same thing with the pedals, going from like a standard to a load cell. And so like that's the progression. Like now I want to try like active pedals, like so it's just like I said, it's just beautiful, like how you can start off, and then when you're like, hey, you know what? I just want to let's try the next level. And it's true, like at every stage there was
Right.
enjoyment, but there was also something new and something that added just that little bit more immersion and like that fidelity to the experience.
Hmm.
But yeah, in terms of chassis, the reality is for me, when I was running my league and just the space, I was racing at my desk. I you know what, I had a really thick wood desk, and sure, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm that guy that had a direct drive wheel like bolted like right to the desk. But I needed it for productivity and for running my league. But now at this kind of stage of things, like I said, I'm ready to kind of take things to the next level. But it just goes to show that there's so many aspects of this
Yes.
hobby, this community. There's so many different ways that you can be a part of this. Whether you're like a high end, you know, esports racer, you're a pilot, a real world pilot that's enjoying flight simulation. Again, as training, you're running a league. Or there's so many different ways, or even starting a show. Like it's been a wild ride. It's been an amazing journey. And really, I think there's really something for everyone in this hobby, in this community. It's really a matter of like how far do you want to take it.
Right.
And it all starts somewhere. And there's no bad place to start, really. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I love it.
Exactly. The most important thing is getting out there and enjoying yourself. Small
Yeah.
budget, big budget, get the best thing obviously that you can afford, but don't sit there and be frustrated because
Yeah.
oh I can't afford the best thing on the market. Like I'm not in a place at the moment where I'm ready to spend on the best thing in the market. I mean, I would love to have a SimuCube Sport Pro. Uh, it would be a dream, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm there yet skill wise. But SimuCube, if you're seeing this and you want to send me something to play with, by all means, I'm not going to say no.
Right. I'll put in a good word for you. I happen to know a few people over there since
I
they're
appreciate.
exhibiting. So yeah,
Perfect. I
yeah,
appreciate that. No, I'd
yeah,
love to connect with them when I get there and create some content, some more engaging stuff. I've got a bunch of ideas. I'm an idea guy. That comes with having like my level of like your brain just racing all the time.
yeah.
Uh,
I can
so
I can relate to
I know
that.
you
So
exactly. I've got
yeah,
tons of big ideas that are going to be fun and engaging with lights and, like I said, full helmets and jumping in the rig and doing fun stuff. So I'm really excited to see what comes about to test different things at the expo, to meet you in person, to meet other
yes,
people in the industry, and just to continue to see where this thing grows and goes and all the
yeah,
fun that people are having. It's amazing to see, you know, tons of people getting together to share something we enjoy. With all the craziness in the world,
yeah,
we can unwind and find some way to just relax. Good, honest, clean fun.
yeah. I love it, and that's the thing. The simulation category is it's family friendly. I mean, it's for everyone, and more of that younger generation is finding their way
Yeah,
into this. And they're the future. So we definitely, we want families to attend. Like, for example, kids 12 and under are free with a
that's
paid
huge.
paid adult admission. So um we want to introduce all of this stuff to the next generation, and we just don't want any barriers. We want everyone to be able to come and enjoy and see this stuff. And honestly, I think like that was one of my goals too. It's like I want the families to come so that because like my own experience, like my family, you know, they saw how many hours that I would put on the sim, you know, and the time that
Right.
I was dedicating to it. But maybe th- you know, unless they kind of have an opportunity to see all this up close and see this community and be like, oh, now I understand why they're so into this and why they're so passionate about it. So I think it's a good way as well to, again, just kind of reinforce and show other family members and friends if they're also in attendance that this
Right.
is why we're so into this stuff, you know, and to see it up
100%.
close. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
definitely. Is there anything that you're excited to get your hands on?
Oh, wow. You know what? I
Sorry to
definitely would.
put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, no. You know what? I mean, again, like because the flight sim side has been really intriguing to me, and I've really wanted to dive in there more. I'm really looking forward to trying out the simulator from Scholarchy Electronics, and I want to get my hands on DCS and really get up there and see what it's about. In terms of the other equipment, you know, there's going to be a number of different motion sims. Some of them I've already tried, like for example, SimCraft. Like I went to the PRI show and had a chance to test their their top of the line simulator, which is like 6 degrees of freedom. Just beautiful,
Yep.
amazing. But I want to see like the other motion sims that will be present. You know, really, I'm just going to soak it all in as much as I can between like all the bouncing around and running around that I'm sure I'll be doing.
Mhm.
And then really, I think for me, my ultimate enjoyment is going to really be seeing people happy and just having a great time. I'm really looking forward to watching some of the sim races because again, like having run a league for so many years and just you know the work that kind of goes into like putting together a season or a championship or a
Yeah.
tournament, and then watching that culminate to having all these people coming in and kind of putting it all on the line in front of an audience like that was kind of like my dream originally for my league. And like I said, it kind of snowballed into something bigger into what it is now. But I can still like appreciate like everything that kind of goes into those competitions and seeing it in person and seeing those drivers really like going for it and competing. Yeah, I think that's going to for me it's going to be something special and kind of like taking everything full circle because I joined iRacing in like 2013 and
Okay.
I've been a
Wow.
simulation fan for much longer. Like I'll be 50. I'll be 50 in August at the end of August and you know, I'm a guy from like the DOS era playing like those old sims, you know, from Micro Pros, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like Papyrus, like those old school games. And like just kind of growing up with all of that. And like I said, when things got a little bit more serious in on the simulation side of things,
Mhm.
when I turned my like first laps on iRacing, I never ever would have imagined that, you know, 10 plus years later that I'd be sitting here like trying to put together an event like this. Honestly for me it's kind of a little bit surreal. I'm excited and nervous and like so many other emotions like wrapped up into like the fact that this is finally happening.
Yeah.
But I'm really I don't know. I'm happy that I was the one to say, you know, okay, if no one else is doing it, all right, I'm waiting. Like, all right, finally,
Right.
all right, the clock, that's it. Like, it's go time. Like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. However it, however it goes, like this, this needed to happen. And so you know, it's an interesting position to be in. As I said, we just need we need a little bit of help now from the community to support this show and this way you know it puts us in a position where we can scale the event and also to be able to give back more and do more fun things and provide like more exciting experiences and things of that nature. So again, like the way I've always felt is together we can do great things. And so this is another example of that because the reality is you know, for these companies, they are making sizable investments to travel, to
Right.
put their
Without a
booths
doubt.
together. And
Mhm.
so there is an expectation. There are numbers in their heads that they need to
Right.
reach in order for it to be viable and to where it makes sense. So if we want to see this grow, then we, again, as a community, we have to show them that yes, the North American market, which I think we all believe and understand, North American market is
It's the
huge and
biggest.
important, but
Right.
we have to physically show them that yes, there is a need. We want this. So again, it's in the people's hands. I've kind of, I feel like I've laid the roadmap out, and it's the stage is set. Now I'm kicking it back to the community and saying, all right, are we doing this? Is this a one off, or is this the future?
Right.
Let's In my opinion, my hope, my dream, my belief is that it is the future, and that we can do this together. Um, and it starts September 5th. So
That's
so
right. 100%.
let's do it. I'm ready, and I think like I said, despite being a first year show, there's going to be a lot for people to see and do. I mean, 40 exhibitors, you know, I think is a great number. And look, like here's the thing. I understand that, maybe on the flight side of things, it's, you know, from the outside looking in, it looks a little bit thin. But I
Hmm.
just want everyone to know that we will have some flight there, and we definitely did our homework, and we did everything that we absolutely could. But the reality is that it takes a little bit of time, and these these
Definitely.
these companies, they just need to have a better understanding of what exactly like they'd be getting into. And I think that after this first year they will. But again, like, come out and support us. Be a part of this. Like, if like a certain community, like for example, flight or farming, if they want to see this grow, then you know,
Right.
come out and enjoy what we have. Tell these companies that you want what you want, and that you want more, and show them,
Exactly.
and we'll be able to make it happen. Yeah,
Couldn't agree more. At the
yeah,
end of the day, money talks, right? So if you're willing to spend your money to go to this event, try out the new toys, and give these companies your reviews, or regardless of which area you come from, if you're a sim gamer, a flight simmer, a racing sim, farming sim, trucking sim. If you go tell these companies, hey, I've been using your products for X amount of years. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like. Here's what we, the industry, would love to see. And you can see
yeah,
by the turnout, the amount of us that came out here and the feedback we're giving you, that this is what we want and what we're looking to buy. So make us
yeah,
this. And a
yeah,
lot of these companies are really receptive. But another thing, as mentioned, it costs a lot of money for them to come here, right? They're
yeah.
essentially, these companies are who pay for the event, not just us buying tickets. Like, they're paying for booth space by square footage. Then they're also paying to bring their products. They're paying all of their staff to be on site. They're paying for their accommodations, all the shipping costs. All the companies that are from out of the country who don't have a
Right,
cache of things stored here are paying huge amounts of taxes to bring them in with all the tariffs. So really think of those things. And again, we're not getting political. I'm just simply
right.
talking about the dollars, the money. So if you want to see things like this grow, we've got to go out and show support.
Yeah,
And
100%. I mean, yeah, well
right,
said. It's a significant investment for these companies to attend, and they want to make connections with their fans, and hopefully, reach out to new customers. Yeah, we have to support them as a community, and I'm confident that by the time September 5th gets here, we'll have a pretty good crowd. But definitely, if you were, as an enthusiast, if you were sitting on the fence and wondering about it, I can't encourage you more to give us a shot. Come out, check it out, see
right,
what it's all about. And like I said, I mean, in my opinion, it's an opportunity to say, like, hey, I was there. I was a part of history. I was a part of making this thing happen. I mean, when you think of like the shows, like amazing shows like CES, and even like FSE, and the
yep,
Sim Racing Expo in Germany, they all had a start, and then you see what happens over time as those shows growed.
right.
And that's
That
kind of,
snowball effect.
yeah, that's where we're at right now. And we'd love for people to be a part of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
So to anybody who sees this, make sure you come out, show some support. above and beyond, come have fun. Come test some of the toys that you've been sitting at your computer for hours looking at reviews. Because before I buy anything, I watch at least 2, 3 reviews from some of my favorite creators. If there is nothing, then I go look on the website, I check out Instagram, and then I try to find somewhere where I can touch it myself. This is a place where you can touch those things, you can enjoy, you can have fun, you can meet other like minded individuals. And above and beyond, we want shows like this to keep going. Uh, it's amazing to me that there isn't already one here in the US. We're the third largest population in the world.
Yeah,
And in terms of the market, we're the number one market in the world where these type of
yeah,
items are sold. If you look at our GDP, you know, what our poverty level is compared to other countries. Again, I don't think we're any better or worse than anybody. I'm
sure.
just saying these companies are all aware that they sell a ton of their products to US buyers.
Yeah,
So we need to just come out and again prove that right, prove that to be correct.
yeah. And I think we definitely have something that's really unique with this show. Like we, I check, when we have new tickets and stuff. Like we're probably close to like 45 states now, where people from 45 different states, and then we also have had people coming from other parts of the
Right.
world, which is really cool. We just need to increase those numbers. But I think it's off to a good start. Like if the word is finally like kind of trickling out to, branching way past, the Chicagoland area and the surrounding states, like we're off to a good start.
That's
We
right.
just, like I said, I think by the time September 5th comes, that's our hope, that we'll be even more surprised, and we'll kind of hit those key numbers.
Hmm.
But Yeah, I think with just how far people have been traveling, or they will be traveling from, it's a really good indicator that, yeah, people are excited, and they're eager and ready to come.
Right. 100%. Thank you so much for putting this on. I'm extremely excited. I know tons of other folks are excited. Another streamer that I follow, Chris Callis, he plays a lot of
Oh
DCS
yeah,
on.
yeah,
He's pumped to be going. I talk to him on Instagram, and I follow him flying around on Twitch, which is really neat. So, hey guys, this opportunity to touch some of the toys that you wanted to play with, to get to know some of those streamers and creators that you watch and follow and have conversation with, because that's what streaming is, right? Like when you're streaming, it's not necessarily about the game because you can watch the game on YouTube. You're watching the streamer because you like the community, the fun. You like to hang out with that person and the people that they attract. So this is the opportunity to do so in real life, to come out of your shell. And in case you guys
yeah.
didn't know, Chicago's a big city with a lot of history and really, really good food. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely have like a ton of restaurants. The convention center itself, which I didn't mention, is actually in the suburb of Schaumburg. So it's about 20 minutes west of O'Hare International Airport.
mhm,
And it's a beautiful suburb outside of the city of Chicago. So that area surrounding the convention center is basically like an entertainment district. So there are tons of like hotels and restaurants and fun things to see and do. And then, you take a short ride down the highway, and you can be in the heart of Chicago, and seeing like the lakefront and all of the museums. And it's just, there's so much to do. So if you're looking to make like a small vacation out of it, I mean, I couldn't think of, a cooler place to be. I mean, I'm biased because this is my hometown. I've lived here my whole life. But I can tell you that it's a great city. There's a lot to really see and do. The Cubs are actually playing on September 3rd, so if people are looking to catch a game while they're in town, like that's something else that they could do it. And then again, like, I'll say it, we've got the best pizza. Sorry, New York. But there's yeah, I guess that could be up for debate, but hey, come here and try it for yourself. Yeah, if you're a foodie, there's tons of restaurants here in Chicago, and yeah, like I said, so much to see and do.
epic. I'm a pizza snob.
Yeah,
I
okay.
really like pizza. Thin crust is kind of my favorite, but if I'm in Chicago, I've got to try deep dish. So, where
There
would
you
you
go.
suggest I go? Like, where's the locals spot?
Yeah, you know what? I actually have become really fond of a pizza chain called Moretti's. They have a number of different locations. There's actually one that's super close to to the convention center, Another staple is Giordano's. They make some awesome deep dish as well. Um, yeah, there's Pequod's is another really famous place. Lou Malnati's. I mean, there's really so many. I mean, it's really kind of like take your pick at that point. But I think for the most part, you can't really go wrong. But those, I think my favorite right now is Moretti's. I actually like their thin crust a lot. But yeah, it just you can't go wrong with any of those. They're all great.
I guess I'll be eating a lot of pizza while there. This
There
is
you
gonna
go.
be crazy. This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, let's
If you
do
see
it.
me sweating in the daytime, it's because I've had way too much fats
You
at night.
get you get the pizza sweats.
Exactly,
there, there,
100%.
there you go. I love it. I love it. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, there's a lot of really cool stuff. Now, this is something for the future, but right next door, and I mean like right next door, like a 2 minute like walking distance, they're currently building an Andretti karting and games. It's going to be
Mhm.
like a 90,000 square foot indoor like karting facility, and kind of like, you know, the arcade side, probably very similar to like a Dave and Buster's, but then they have like the indoor karting. And
Okay.
that's going to be a huge draw for people because you'll have like the expo going on, and then like you just walk right next door and
Right?
there's Andretti karting and games. Another thing too, like parking's free. Parking's
That's
free
always
at,
big.
yeah, which is huge. Um, the room block is mostly full, but we're continuing to like add more rooms. We do have like discounted rates that you can get through booking through our website, and then there's also another hotel. It's like 3 minutes down the road. It's a Embassy Suite. So again, as I mentioned, hotels and restaurants, like everything is right there, and it's such a short trip right from the airport. There's so many direct flights coming into Chicago. We're in the Midwest. I mean, I think there's a lot of really positive things going for this show in terms of its location, and even for the exhibitors. Like O'Hare is a international shipping hub. You know,
Yep.
it's it's perfect for them, and there's so many direct flights coming internationally. So it's great. We think that it's just a great location. September 5th through the 7th. Show doors open at noon on Friday, September 5th, and we're like I said, we're super excited. Tickets are $35 for a single day, and 2 day is 60. 3 days 85. We definitely have some discount codes floating around out there with a number of the different creators, so you still have an opportunity to save a little bit on tickets. Um, yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm really excited, and just really looking forward to meeting everyone and
Right.
seeing everyone walking through the doors. And my whole thing is when I did this, like my vision and my dream, if you will, is when people walk through the doors that they look around and they say, hey, whoever did this, like they get me. Like they understand what I like. They understand what Sim's all about. And so that's what my hope is for this show. And ultimately it was, the way I like to coin is like for fans by fans, you know, and yeah, just really coming from someone that is just like them, you know, an enthusiast who loves all this hardware and tech, and really just wanted to share that with everybody. Um, so that's, you know, that's my goal for this show, and I'm sure people will catch that same feeling when they come to the event. And yeah, I guess I don't know. I just feel like I've got a responsibility to everyone, and I don't want to let people down. I don't want to let the exhibitors down, and so I've really, you know, I've given this thing my all, and I hope that and I'm confident that it will. But my hope is that that translates through when people walk through the doors. Yeah.
I'm sure when everybody comes together and the show doors open, everyone's going to be extremely excited. Are there any presentations like beforehand, like FS Expo does like a welcome event in the evening? Should we expect something like that as well?
Yeah, you know, this first year was a little bit difficult in managing something like that. Definitely, we would love to do, because I've been to FSC, and it's amazing. Their stage presentation is like top notch. So
Yeah,
if we can get to the point of having a stage show like FSE does, I would say like, oh yeah, we're doing really good. So we definitely strive to have something as awesome as what those guys have put on. Um, so in terms of that, we unfortunately, we're going to just kind of open the doors and just kind of, everyone's going to be there. But we will, in terms of a stage, we will have a media area where we will have a number of different panel talks and discussions and product launches, things like that happening throughout the weekend. We'll have, maybe seating for around 100 with like 5 seats with audio and
perfect.
monitor. So we will have a nice AV presence, maybe just on a little bit of a smaller scale as we kind of still kind of work through all those challenges and figure out like what do we got here? Like
Right.
yeah. But we definitely would love to see our stage show, on that level at some point. But we'll see. I think this first year it'll be a little more, like I don't know if intimate's the right word, but like seating for maybe around 100 and yeah, a little more cozy, I guess, if you will,
Okay.
with
Yeah.
regards to the crowd and but I think the subject matter that we have for our lineup of panelists, I think is going to be some real winners. We've got some really cool stuff. We'll actually be posting that full schedule very soon. Like Sunday, we have a couple more um, presentations that we have time slots to fill. And once
Yep.
that's finalized, which will be happening very soon, then we're going to release like the full schedule for the entire weekend. But we've got some really cool stuff planned. Um, and I think people will still, have some really cool topics to be excited about and check out.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. Again, George, thank you so much for taking the
Yes.
time. It's been an honor. I look forward to seeing you in Sugarland,
Yes.
Chicago. I'm pumped for Sim
Let's
Gaming
go.
Expo. Everybody out there, if you're in the surrounding area, you're a sim enthusiast, make sure you tune in. If for some reason you can't make it, check out my channel. I'll definitely have a recap there. I'm going to touch some of the toys, let you know my thoughts, and I'm looking forward to having a blast. Thank you. Stay safe. And as always, may there be wind beneath your wings.
Love it. Blue skies.
That's
Thanks
it.
so much. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you
George.
so much for having me
Have a
on.
great
And
rest of your day.
yeah, thank you too. Take care.